we have to do, we work, okay? When you make mistake, I correct you nicely. But when I see you are intentionally not doing what you have to do, the reason why you have been paid, hey, then you see the other side, and they know. Okay, so I think that my staff know what I don't like. So you don't even start. For example, I give you work. I'm not expecting you to come and tell me that, manager, this is not possible. Why are you being paid? If it's not possible, there should be a plan B. I'm expecting you to come and tell me that this task is not possible this way, but I have thought about this. When you come straight, I've given you work and I'm expecting something, come and tell me straight that it's not possible. They know me, so when you do that and I flare up, they know. So when they've done it once, twice, and I reacted that way, next time, you see that when there is a challenge, they are already coming with the challenge and the solutions. So whether it's pandemic or not, they know that this is a standard rule. So I think that as women, because as she said, nobody saw the pandemic coming.
Yeah.
So we have to establish rules of the game. When somebody does, even in feedback, you don't have to be so, sometimes as women, there are certain times as women, we let our emotions, go overboard. When somebody makes a mistake, and the way we shout, the way we talk, it even demoralizes the person. No. When I'm having an appraisal with you, I don't say anything new. Because whatever I have said it before. So I think first and foremost, as I mentioned, set your rule. As soon as you start the work, start the department, this is how we go about it. So it becomes a going concern. So when pandemic comes and they are working from the house, it's more like, okay, maybe just give report, okay, how are you doing this and this and this, It makes work flow easy. And then the other aspect I would want to take, it will look a bit maybe off, but it also has a way. Because I also teach in temperament. Sometimes too, the temperament of the person also plays a part in it, okay? You find out that people who are phlegmatic, they are the peace going and all of, so everything is peace. So if you are not careful, you are a very phlegmatic leader. If you don't balance it well, you find out that you always be like the mother. On the other extreme, if you are a strong choleric, you find out that if you are not careful, you have relationship problems with your staff. So that bit of it, we need to understand, it's a very important aspect we need to look at. We look at, as a leader, know your temperament type, and you know how to balance it, so that in that case, if you are a choleric, you try to, that this is your problem, and then you try to bring the phlegmatic. If you know that you are not good, and you have somebody in your team who is a phlegmatic, when you know you have been pushed, you just bring the person to balance off. So I think these are the two areas I think we need to really look at for it to be.
Okay. Elena, just before, we've had quite good conversation around top to bottom, and you've spoken largely about what people in leadership positions can do, to create a very serene and workable environment. But this just came to mind. I remember when I was working at the University of Ghana, there was a time it was time to appoint a new head of department, and I heard a woman in the administration protesting against the appointment of another woman. And I remember she said that she prefers to have a male boss to a female boss. And I think quite a few people have shared similar opinion. What do you think that women below can do to support women at the top? Whilst we've spoken generally about women at the top doing so many things, what can those at the bottom also do to contribute to the growth of women generally? Because it cannot just be one way. So is there anything you think that women who find themselves at the lower ends can also contribute to help those at the top, so that overall it can help women generally to all progress?
Okay. I think the first thing we need to analyze is why you don't want a female boss. sometimes it's not that the female boss is bad. You might be feeling competitive. You might be feeling jealous. You might just be, that kind of thing where women do.
Yeah.
And understand why you don't want the female boss. If she's a bad person, it's different. Nobody wants a bad boss. It could be, you can have a bad male boss. If she's a bad person, that's a whole different discussion. But you need to get why you don't want a female boss. And if it is, you realize in yourself that you are just envious of the person's growth, then you need to check yourself, push that person, and maybe when she's there, she'll reach down and get you. And maybe even her being there will change the perception that, women are like this, so, they're not like that. They're not like that after all. They are very productive. Let's bring more women up. So it starts with an individual introspection on why we are some way about a female leader. That's what we need to understand first. And then on top of that, let's all understand. Let's be selfish. Let's be selfish as well. If there's a female boss, like right now that Kamala Harris has become first vice president of the United States, another woman can go. Then there will now be a female president. So let's be selfish. Somebody has done it. Let's make noise about it. Let's push it so that, more doors open for women, so that me too, I can enter.
Positively selfish.
Positively. push it. Hey, women are doing this. Everything she does, that is awesome. Shout about it, so that the whole society will see that, then our women leaders are not troublesome. They are not difficult. Let's bring more, and that will open the door for you yourself. So think about it. It's good for you. If you bring women down, there will be nobody there to pull you up.
I think to add on, I think part of it is also a perception. Okay, because like the earlier question you asked, everybody thinks that a woman should be a mother. So the moment I want to be heard or require some figures or answers to certain questions, then it's like, hey,
you are becoming a father.
I am a You get it? Because they are not expecting it.
Yeah.
So yes, that one is a perception, and it's something that we as women we are dealing with. But we will still have to stand strong for what we believe and ask for the performance, because it is only when we are there we perform that the people below can also have the opportunity to also rise up. Okay, so that perception, I think we need to deal with it. I think the next thing we can also do is that having this men association and this mentoring, where we give people feedback, because we all have our weaknesses. So when we have these things, we discuss soft skills, the person will go and sit down, reflect, So I think that can also work in an organization. Yeah.
So I want to use this platform to make this bold statement. I'll read it. Traditionally, we women have been taught to be competitive with one another. But in the 21st century, it is clear that that strategy does not work. The truth is that raising each other up and channeling the power of collaboration is truly how we'll change the equation. So if you've been brought up by other people or whatever you grew up with, to know that once I'm a woman, we have to be competitive. That particular strategy is outcake, is outmoded, it is not the way to go. So on this platform, we want to encourage women, let's stop competing with each other. It is an outmoded strategy. When different people collaborate, if we pull one person up, if we have more women in parliament making decisions for us, some of the things we fight for today will be changed. So I want to use this platform to tell my other colleague women that the days of being competitive with each other in the negative way, it is outmoded, and that strategy does not work.
Wow, I'm really having a good time. Just like some of our viewers, some of the comments coming in, women are not less of humans, push them up. Thank you, ladies, for inspiring women leaders. Fantastic discussions, great show, good initiative, and many more. But time is fast running against us, so I'll be taking your final thoughts, okay? in a minute or two, if you can just give me your thoughts on this. What would be your final words of advice to the next generation of women who are seeking to take up leadership positions? And how can they balance this with family life?
You've asked two different questions.
Yeah.
For family and work balance,
Yeah.
it's mandatory. You're going to give birth, you're going to marry, you're going to give birth. So it's a skill you have to learn. But my few words of advice, first of all, for every young woman aspiring to be a leader, you must keep the vision why you want to lead in the forefront. It takes hard work, time, tenacity, and sometimes trade-offs and compromise with personal life. Trust your own talents and work hard. No matter how difficult the road gets, you should never give up. Remember that as a woman leader, the decisions you make will impact other people's lives. No woman should be held back from realizing her dreams just because she's a woman. And finally, be prepared to play a long game. No one will lay out a red carpet for any of us. We have to build the networks and alliances necessary to reach the top. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jifa. Theodora.
Thank you. So on the issue of the balance between the work, I think I would just say one word, that is the coping mechanism. So you learn to work with people, train the staff, train your family. That is the only way you'll be able to work, okay? Get help where need be. It's not easy, but we have to manage both. On my final thoughts, one, don't dim your light for anybody's convenience. And the second point is that we are in real life. This is a real life situation and not a dress rehearsal. So if we have to do something, let's go for it with all boldness. Forget about the fear, take the risk, and then move head on. And the final point I want to state is that no amount of rejection or failure should stop you from moving forward. When it comes, you get up, learn from your mistake, and continue the journey.
I don't know.
They've said everything. Work-life balance. I have a very different view on work-life balance. Maybe because of my young age. From what I've seen, I would say it's a little bit too difficult for everybody. It's a little bit too difficult for everybody to do that balance, especially as women who are considered to be the nurturers of the home. And I say that because we have a lot of situations nowadays where children are suffering because something is missing. We are not able to balance the nurturing with the career that we are pushing for. But then we need money to take care of the house. In those days, when even our old grandparents used to go to the farm, there was a community that was still taking care of the children, so they were still having that contact. But nowadays, psychologists have reported that this drive for career, not on the women's side alone, both men and women, is causing neglect of the children, which is affecting them in different ways. We're having ADHD, childhood depression, all these other things nowadays because there's something missing. There's no emotional connection in the early stage of the child. So I would say finding work-life balance is difficult these days. If you know you want to have a solid next generation, don't crucify me. You will crucify me anyways, but I would say choose one. Choose one. Have the kids. Train them well, at least the first 7 years, and then start again. Opportunity, they say, comes but once. It's not true. This opportunity came once. Another one is coming. Another one is coming. So you need to decide. If you want to have a solid next generation, you are raising a solid next generation, one of you needs to choose. You bring the money. I will make sure that our children are taken care of and sorted out emotionally and physically until they are old enough. So that's why I said I have a very different view on work-life balance. And then when it comes to my final words, if you cannot see the problem, you cannot solve it. And the people who see the problem are those who know what is different. If there are no women in leadership positions, we will not see when a policy is being made that will not favor women.
Sure.
So make sure that we get there, so that we influence policy making for our good and the good of those who are coming. So let's do our best, like she said, let's do our best, let's not give up, and make sure that we get into those positions where we will see before the decision is made, and make sure that the decision is beneficial to our agenda. Thank you very much.
Wow. Viewers, it's been an exciting time with these very awesome ladies. Madam Jifa Anyaso, CEO, Ultimate Credit Solutions. Madam Elena Mabla, DMD, JK Hago Transport and Company Limited. And Madam Theodora Senaya, who is Head Operational Risk, Fidelity Bank Ghana. I wish we could have this, but I'm sure that will come your way again some other time. One thing I have taken out of all of this is that the rise of women, the empowering of women is a partnership between men and women. It is no competition. And the moment we are able to understand and embrace that, I think that be you a woman or a man, we can all grow together to push each other's capabilities so that we are all happy in the end. And on that note, I would like to bring today's discussions to an end, and hopefully we come your way another time. My name is Sam, the MC, and I've been your host for this awesome event. Thank you and have a good evening.